still can't believe that it happened today. So much emotion, so many things going through my head and my heart and everything else from all the Chicago games and the times home and away that I was able to witness and able to see, which was just, I'm forever eternally grateful. Um, this is perhaps a tad biased, but I don't really believe so in the end because of all the information and everything that I need to back this up. I actually believe this would be cemented. I'm going to do my Mount Everest of Chicago sports. Now, of all the incredible athletes and the incredible men that have worn Chicago uniforms, sweaters, you name it, this is a 4-spot list, and we're going to start it off right here. Number 1 on Mount Everest, Frank the Big Hurt Thomas, Chicago White Sox, Hall of Famer, literally had a career as a potential Hall of Fame tight end in the NFL. He chose baseball. I think he made the right decision. The hardest thing of all was seeing Frank go from the White Sox to playing with the Athletics and the Blue Jays. Nothing was more difficult than that. I really, really don't believe there was anything that you could sit there and say that would have made it any better. All it does is it tells you how sometimes fragile times are in life, and the best of the best people, your identity, you feel like you relate to these gentlemen. And I know that I really do, for how my life has been turned out and where it is going forward. Sports is literally my identity, and it's everything. And it is baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. No offense to any other sports. Those are the 4 that I get into. And I put all my time there. Frank, I have gotten to meet so many times. I literally consider the man a friend. All the stories and the heartfelt moments I have told him face to face in front of thousands of people with my own voice. Of the story and how how I literally batted like him for years when I played baseball. I couldn't help myself. Everything was about Frank. My social media, for crying out loud, is Big Hurt Nap. I mean, that's why. That is literally why. Um, and just a class act of an individual. Frank is number 1 on the Everest. Number 2 is absolutely Michael Jordan. There are so many different reasons why you can go this route. MJ saved the Chicago Bulls, and to this day and beyond has set the franchise up for long success because of what he did, and what he did with Pippen and Rodman and Kukoc and Longley, Horace Grant, BJ Cartwright, just everybody that you can name, BJ Armstrong, all of them. He did so much with those teams. And Phil Jackson, Michael is a brand and still shows that to this day. I wish that I would have gotten to be around more during the 90s to watch all the prime. All I can see now is games on reruns or highlight reels constantly. To watch those moments live, I would have done anything to see that. Most of my Jordan memories are vaguely in 98 when the Bulls won. I was 5 years old. I vaguely remember that championship. After that, though, my main memory of Michael Jordan is in a Washington Wizards uniform. And that is very, very unsettling and very difficult. Though it's MJ, and he's my second favorite athlete. Big Hurt is my first because of baseball. That's been my number 1 love forever. And then the other sports are right there after it. But, MJ is definitely number 2. Number 3 is Walter Payton. Sweetness, the Walter Payton of the Man Year Award, all the charity, all the things that he did. We lost him way, way too soon. I would have done so much to be able to meet that man and hear some of his journey and his story. The guy would run through anything and everything. Guy would not complain. He'd go out there with the biggest smile on his face, and he would play one of the hardest games known to man and just dominate at an all-time level every single game and more. Sweetness is just smooth sweetness sailing, you name it. Walter had it, and he was very special, and that was a player that I would have done very, very much to be able to see a lot more in the prime years. That's 3 spots right there, and there's 1 spot left. That belongs to Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane has done in the last video my video I just posted to Patrick, all those reasons why. And it's not even about the championships. And in a huge way, he did assist in saving the Blackhawks. Frank Thomas was there at the White Sox, got the MVPs, got them up on the map. Walter Payton took the Bears literally on his shoulders and ran them through all of the hardest woods, all of the hardest forests, and propelled them through. And then you had Michael Jordan, who did everything. He lived from traveling to shot making to defense to grit to effort to heart. Jordan did all of it, and it's like he still is doing it because he's that special of a human being. And then after Jordan, it's Patty Kane. And I am able to say that I was able to see some prime years live of Frank Thomas and of Patrick Kane. Jordan, I saw the tail end, and Walter Payton, I never even got to see live. But I know everything's there for me to back it up. Kaner is, and Johnny Tays was 1 year apart. But Patrick Kane has just done all of it and more for the Blackhawks. And he has cemented himself on there. There's nothing more grateful for being a diehard Chicago sports fan and a Chicagoan forever in me is when you go to a White Sox game and you go out to left field and you got Frank Thomas's statue right there. You have Paulie Konerko right next to him and all the other White Sox greats in center field. But left field is just Big Hurt and Paulie side by side. You go to a Bulls game, you literally can't miss the Jordan statue. It is the center of attention when you go to the United Center. And it is the best sight to see before going into the court and seeing that entrance and intro and the Bulls charging out to the court. Nothing is more adrenaline going than seeing that statue. And everybody else's statue is in the concourse around the United Center. Jordan's by himself. The Bears, you see George Halas and you see Walter Payton, finally, at Soldier Field. Over at Halas Hall, there is the same statue as well. There is a statue of George Halas there. But Walter Payton, it is literally there at Soldier Field. You go up there, you look at it, you admire it, and you know what he did for the franchise. And the history of football, on top of everything else that he did as a man, and it was he did for charity and families and help people out. That is the difference. When you go above and beyond, not only playing the game, but everything else that goes into it. That is so clutch. And then there's Kane. And I can't even wait to see number 88 get retired in the rafters of the United Center. It was so amazing to see Hossa this year. Just to think that more are coming with Taves and Kane and Duncan Keith. Maybe Corey Crawford. I don't know about Brent Seabrook. Maybe Brent Seabrook. But when Patrick Kane gets his moment and gets that statue done, my entire generation will never forget what we watched. And you have to just take moments to sometimes think, wow, how we had it, how it was, and what it was. And, now it's just, it really is unbelievable, to say the least. Patty Kane is in the Mount Rushmore. Excuse me. Rushmore to Everest, whichever. Lost for words with everything going on. 4 people, Mount Everest. That's what we have right there. Um, and all the memories and all the times, the pictures, the videos, the cheering, the hollering, the everything. Just it was all there, and it'll always be there. And wanted to post this up because I think there was no more appropriate time than to be able to highlight those specific individuals. Thank you guys.